Want to learn your target language for free? Then get our language gifts of the month right now before they expire. Here's what you're getting this month. First, the Going to the Airport Conversation Cheat Sheet. With this new cheat sheet, you'll learn words and phrases like "here's my passport," "boarding pass," and much more. Download it for free on the inside. Second, the Slang Words and Phrases PDF ebook. Do you know any slang in your target language? If not, download this free ebook and master all the must-know slang across 10 chapters. Third, 30 romance and love-related words and phrases. You'll learn words and phrases like date, flirt, and breakup with this quick vocab bonus. Fourth, can you talk about Halloween in your target language? With this quick 1-minute lesson, you'll learn must-know Halloween words like vampire, trick-or-treat, and more. Fifth, want the language learning app that actually gets you speaking? Download Innovative Language 101 for free for the Android, iPhone, and iPad. You'll unlock hundreds of bite-sized audio and video lessons made by real teachers and start speaking in minutes. And finally, the deal of the month. If you want to finally master the language with lessons by real teachers and our complete language learning program, get a big 35% off Premium or Premium Plus with the Monster Sale. To get your gifts and language learning resources, click the link in the lesson description below. Download them right now before they expire.
Hi everybody, my name is Alicia. In this lesson, I'm going to talk about some differences between the present perfect and the past perfect. These are two commonly confused grammar points. So in this lesson, I'm going to compare the uses of these two tenses, and I'm going to give some example sentences that I hope show the different ways that they are applied. So let's get started. I want to begin this lesson by talking about present perfect tense. I made a diagram here. This diagram shows the primarily two uses I want to talk about in this lesson of present perfect. First though, let's read the explanation here. We use the present perfect tense to express actions that started in the past and continue to the present. So present means now. Or the effects of the action continue to the present. So this explanation, shown visually, might look something like this, these two lines that continue from the past to the present. So here is a timeline. This star represents now. This direction is the future. Back here is the past. So we use present perfect tense to describe actions that start, if this is my starting point, that start in the past and continue to the present. We can also use it to describe actions that start in the past and the effects of that action continue to the present. This is the first point. We can also use this grammar point with the progressive form or the continuous form of a verb. Remember, this is the ing, the ing form of a verb, for emphasis on the continuing action. So if you really want to show that something has been continuing and will continue perhaps after your conversation, so this helps show the action will continue into the future, you can use that ing form of a verb. We also use the present perfect tense for life experience at an unspecified point in the past. So unspecified means it's not clear when the action happened, or it's not important when the action happened. We just want to express life experience. On a timeline, this might look something like this. The dotted lines represent some time in the past. We don't know exactly when, but there was life experience. Something happened. We use this for like travel, job experience, and so on. We can also make a negative here to show no life experience in the past at some point or at any point in the past. So, with these points in mind, let's look at some example sentences that show us how present perfect tense is used. First example sentence, I have been to France. I have been to France. This is a very basic present perfect tense sentence. This is actually a simple life experience statement. So I mentioned we use the present perfect tense for life experience. I have been to France shows us that at some point in the past, the speaker had the experience of visiting France. So as I said, this is a very basic sentence that uses present perfect. To refresh, when we make present perfect sentences, we use have or has, depending on the subject, like I have or she has, he has, plus the past participle verb form. Here, we're using I as our subject, have, my verb is be, so the past participle form is been. I have been, in this case, to France. So this refers to a simple life experience. Let's take a look at another example. She has been studying English for 3 years. She has been studying English for 3 years. Here, we see a verb is used in the progressive form. So this shows it's an action that is continuing. In this case, we have some more information. So this action has continued for 3 years. This means at the point in time at which this conversation happened here, she, in the situation, this other person, she has been studying continuously for 3 years. So let's imagine this point in time in the past is her start point, her study start point. She has been studying for 3 years. So this time period is 3 years. That's what this sentence tells us. She has been studying. Here you'll also notice that this pattern follows this pattern I mentioned earlier, has been, and then the continuing action or the progressive verb here follows this past participle verb form. So this shows us the continuing action. We can use for or we can use since in patterns like these. Okay, let's move on to another one. Here, he has been sick for a week. He has been sick for a week. So here, we're talking about a condition. So we can't use sick as a verb. We can't say sicking. That doesn't work. He has been sick. So sick is describing a person's condition, the status of their body. It's not talking about an action. He's not doing something. It's his condition. We want to express that this condition started in the past, in this case, for a week. So this point in the past is a week ago. He has been sick. So maybe we could say like he was very sick here and then he got a little bit better, but we wouldn't really be so specific in everyday conversation about that. We would probably use something like this. He has been sick for a week. So this shows us maybe there were some effects of his sickness perhaps that continued. We can guess based on our own experiences what this means. So he has been sick for a week shows us someone began the sick condition here and it continued for this period of time. It may continue, but we just talk about this point in time here. And because it's not an action, just using this simple phrase is perfectly natural. Okay, let's move on to one more example sentence that uses present perfect. This one, it's a negative. I've never written a book. I've never written a book. This I've is I have. I'll come back to this in a moment. I mentioned that we use the present perfect tense to talk about life experience and no life experience. This is a situation that describes no life experience. I have never written a book. So when we include never before a past participle verb in this pattern, it means no life experience at any time in the past. I've never written a book. This sentence, I've written a book, means at some point in the past, I had the experience of writing a book. This, however, means no experience. I mentioned this point right here, this I've. One pronunciation point for present perfect tense is about this reduction, this shortening of sounds. When we're using have, as in I have or we have, we make a v sound in fast speech. I have becomes I've. We have becomes we've. When the subject, however, is he or she or it, for example, he has or she has is reduced to he's, she's. So there's this z sound that happens here. In this case, I've used I've. So please keep this point in mind. We'll see something different with the past perfect tense. So this is a refresher on present perfect tense. If you'd like to know more about present perfect tense, there are some other videos on the English Class 101 channel that you can check for some more example sentences and some more detailed explanations. So let's compare this to past perfect tense. Again, I have a diagram here of the present, now, the future, and the past. One key difference that you can maybe see quickly is that here, all of the situations involved, everything in the situation is in the past. So we're not talking about the present here. Everything happened in the past. Here, we're talking about the relationship between the past and now. So keep this in mind. These sentences can be used to talk about things that happened in the past, continued, and then stopped at a certain point in time. So let's look at the explanation. We use past perfect tense to express actions that started in the past and continued to a specific point in the past. So this is an action, yes, or it can be a condition. So for example, we talked about a person being sick. That's a condition. That's a good example of a condition or a state. So started in the past, continued to a specific point in the past. Maybe something happened, something changed it, or we just want to note that this is an important point in the past. I'll show some examples in a moment. We can use past perfect with the progressive, again, the ing form of a verb. We tend to use this with when plus a past tense verb, like a clause that uses a past tense verb. And we do this to show an interrupted action. So the image here is an action is continuing, 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 and we use past perfect to describe that action. Something happens, we use when to mark that point, and then we add a past tense verb clause to show the thing that happened. So again, I'll show an example of this in a moment. Finally, we can use this for life experience that was true in the past. So maybe something has changed, but we want to talk about something that was true in the past, or that happened in the past, or a condition in the past that maybe is different or kind of is important to talk about in relationship to experience now. It's a complex point. So let's look at some examples that use this. First, I had been to 10 countries by my 25th birthday. So let's break down this sentence. Here, I begin the sentence with my past perfect phrase. I had been. So here, we see a similar pattern with the present perfect tense. We're using the verb have, yes, but because it's past tense, past perfect tense, we need to conjugate, we need to change this verb to past tense. So to make past perfect tense, we use had plus the past participle verb form. In this case, I had been. Okay, so I had been to 10 countries. This is reflecting a past condition, past life experience, by my 25th birthday. So by can mark a point in time. It's like up until this point in time. So here, let's look at this in terms of our timeline. We know by my 25th birthday is the key point in time in this sentence. And we see past perfect tense is used to explain this condition. I had been to 10 countries, so this is my life experience. So we can imagine this is the speaker's 25th birthday here. Before this time, or rather by this point in time in this person's life experience, he or she had been to 10 countries. So we use past perfect to show that. So this is useful if you want to tell a story or you're talking about gradually gaining life experience. So the speaker is talking about their 25th birthday. This suggests this is a past point in time. So this is how we might explain these kinds of life experiences and gradually learning and growing and doing other things. Let's look at another example. Here, an interrupted action. We had been working on the project for 3 weeks when it was suddenly canceled. We had been working on the project for 3 weeks when it was suddenly canceled. So here we see one of the big hint words I mentioned, this when, as I talked about here. When comes before a simple past tense statement, in this case passive. It was suddenly canceled. So here is my past tense portion. Here I'm using we had been working. Here's my past perfect portion, again with progressive. So this shows an action that was continuing. We had been working on the project for 3 weeks when it was suddenly canceled. So when marks the point of change in a continuing action. So this is something maybe our team was working continuously on. Here, the project was suddenly canceled. We use when to mark that interruption or that stop point. So we use this with the progressive tense because there's an actual action happening. We wouldn't use this like I had been traveling to 10 countries. That sounds like a person was continuously moving from country to country, and it doesn't sound natural at all. We just want to talk about life experience here. This sentence, however, shows us that the action was continuing, like non-stop. We had been working. This was a continuing thing, but it was interrupted. Our interruption is marked with when and a past tense clause. Okay, let's go to one more kind of complex one. Again, this uses a negative. I talked about this negative over here. I've never written a book. Let's look at how we might use a negative with past perfect. I'd never eaten sushi before I visited Japan. So here, another pronunciation point. I mentioned we use v and s when we reduce the I have, he has patterns in present perfect tense. When we use past perfect tense, we have a similar reduction, but because we only use had, we just make a d sound. I had becomes I'd. We had becomes we'd. There's a small d sound. So, I'd never eaten sushi before I visited Japan. I'd never eaten sushi before I visited Japan. So here we have, right here, a good hint, past tense situation, a past tense clause. So before I visited Japan, so here's a key point in time. So the speaker has had the experience of visiting Japan. So here, visited Japan. Before that, the speaker did not have the experience of eating sushi. So we express that with I'd never eaten sushi before I visited Japan. You might hear some people say I'd never eaten sushi before visiting Japan. That's also okay. But the key point here, we're communicating lack of experience in the past before this more recent experience. So we use past perfect to do this, to show these relationships between past situations, between past actions, past conditions, and so on. So when we want to be very specific about our timeline, we can use past perfect and simple past tense to do that. So a really good rule is if you're telling a story, a past tense story, something that happened in the past, and you want to show the sequence of events, use simple past for the most recent action. Use past perfect for the action further in the past. And try not to put too much information in one sentence. 2 items is great. So if you want to do it like this, it's very clear. But if you have too many actions in one sentence, it can get very confusing. So again, that hint is use past perfect for actions farther in the past, like the furthest action in the past, past perfect. The more recent action, use simple past tense to talk about that. So this is a quick introduction to the differences between past perfect and present perfect tense. I hope that you found something you can use, and I hope that it helps you in telling your stories more clearly. Of course, if you have any questions or comments, or if you want to practice making some sentences or stories, feel free to do so in the comment section of this video. Also, if you liked this lesson, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and please check us out at EnglishClass101.com for some other things that can help you with your English studies. Thanks very much for watching this lesson, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye. Hi everybody, my name is Alicia. In this lesson, I'm going to talk about but and yet. And I'm going to focus on 2 parts of speech. We can use but and yet for both of these parts of speech, but we need to keep in mind the different meanings that result. So let's get started. The first part of speech I want to talk about is using but and yet as a conjunction. So a reminder, when I say part of speech, I mean the function of the word in the sentence. So that means grammatically, what is the word's purpose? What is that word's job in the sentence? So a conjunction is a word that is used to make 2 ideas come together. We connect our ideas with conjunctions. So for example, like and but, or for, so, those kinds of things. So conjunctions, there are quite a few of them, and some kind of like phrases we can use as well. But we can use but and yet as conjunctions. When using these as conjunctions, they mean the same thing. So we can connect our ideas, and they have the meaning of however. So they have the same meaning, same function as conjunctions. Yet sounds more formal than but. So we tend to use it in more formal situations. In most everyday situations, we use but to connect our ideas. It would sound too formal, too polite to use yet in most everyday conversations. Let's look at some examples. First, we wanted to go shopping, but we were out of time. Here, but connects this idea with this idea. We wanted to go shopping, and we were out of time. So out of time means we used all our time. We had no time remaining. So we connect these ideas with the conjunction but. Another example. You said dinner would be $20, but it's actually $50. Here again, 2 ideas being connected. In this case, you said dinner would be $20, this past tense statement. But it's actually 50. So here is a present tense statement. We connect these ideas with but. Now let's see some examples where we might use yet as a conjunction. They gave their best effort at the championship match, yet were defeated. So here we're showing probably a team working hard at a championship match, that's point A, yet B, they were defeated. So yes, we could use the word but here. They gave their best, but were defeated. That's also okay. Using yet here shows it's kind of a more formal situation. Maybe this championship match was very important to this team, or it was like a very important match in the sporting world overall. So yet kind of elevates. It brings the level up of formality. One more example. She said she wasn't interested in the job. Yet, she sent an application. So here, point A, she said she wasn't interested, yet she sent an application. So here again, this is probably like a work-related situation, so using yet shows it's a bit more formal, it's perhaps a bit more polite. So using yet is going to make your sentence sound more formal. Connecting your ideas with yet will increase your politeness level a bit. So this is how we use but and yet as conjunctions. Let's compare this then to using these words as adverbs. As adverbs, these two words are very different in meaning. When we use yet as an adverb, it means up to this point in time. So for example, many students probably know a sentence like, I haven't finished my homework yet, or I haven't done the laundry yet. So there's that feeling of expectation with yet, meaning up until this point in time, this thing has not, in many cases, been finished. But there's some expectation there. We can kind of see this in this, like the same way when we're using yet in these example sentences I'll show you. Compare this to but. When we use but as an adverb, as you'll see in some examples, it means just or only. I also want to note with these speech patterns that I'm going to introduce, these are formal speech patterns. We don't use these so often in everyday speech. The yet patterns you might hear in business English, in more formal situations, work situations. These sound a little formal and in some cases maybe a little old-fashioned, but from time to time you may hear patterns similar to these, so I would like to explain them. First, let's look at using yet. As I said, yet as an adverb means up to this point in time. Here, they have yet to reply to our offer. They have yet to reply to our offer. So another way to say this would be they haven't replied to our offer yet. That's another way to say it. That's probably the more common way to say it. They haven't replied to our offer yet. It sounds a little more casual. That sounds like an everyday speech pattern. This sounds more formal. They have yet to reply to our offer. So if you want your speech to sound a little more formal, or if you're writing something, you can use this pattern. They have yet to reply to our offer, or they haven't replied to our offer yet. Means the same thing. Either way, there's some expectation. You're expecting that there's going to be a reply. It just means up until this point, there hasn't been one. So we use yet to communicate that. Another example, I have not yet finished my proposal. I have not yet finished my proposal. So here, yet is being used to talk about someone's expectations for themselves. So I have not yet finished my proposal shows up until now, my proposal has not been completed, but I expect to complete it. So another way to say this that would be more like casual, everyday speech would be, I haven't finished my proposal yet. So using yet sounds quite natural and much more casual when we use it at the end of the sentence. But when we use it in this position, it makes the sentence sound more formal. Okay. Also, you'll notice maybe one other grammatical point in case you have a question about this. In this sentence, I have not yet finished, and here was they have yet to reply. So you'll notice that here I've used I have not yet finished. So these two sentences are both expressing lack of something, so not finishing and not receiving a reply. But there are these two patterns that we can use. So yes, they have yet to reply, means they haven't replied yet. That's okay to use. So you could say, for example, they have not yet replied to our offer. That's also okay to use. It's up to you. To me, this one sounds a little more formal, using this infinitive form. But you can use both of these patterns to express that lack of something. Okay, let's go on then to talking about but. As I said, these are fairly kind of formal, maybe a little old-fashioned, so you might not hear them as much. Let's look at this example. Don't quit. We're at but the first stage of our project. So this but, I know it seems probably a little weird, but this is how we would use this as an adverb. So as I said, but means like just or only. So think of it as that. So if we use only here, for example, only would be modifying the first stage. So like first stage or like the first step of a project. We're at just the first stage. We're at only the first stage. But has that meaning. We're at but the first stage, but using but instead of just or only sounds more formal. We're at but the first stage of our project, so don't quit. It's only the first stage. Let's look at one more example. This is but a small error. Don't worry. So here again, if we replace but with just or only, we can see maybe more naturally the meaning. This is just a small error. Don't worry. Or this is only a small error. Don't worry. But makes it sound more formal. So again, we don't use this speech pattern so much in everyday speech, but you may hear it from time to time, especially in kind of more old-fashioned media that uses this style of English. So this is what it means. But it means just or only when used as an adverb. Okay, so this is a quick intro to how to use but and yet as adverbs and to use them as conjunctions. There are other uses of these words, but I wanted to compare these two, especially conjunctions, because there are many questions about the differences between these two words. So I hope that this was helpful for you. If you have any questions or comments, or if you want to practice making a sentence with these words, please feel free to do so in the comment section. Of course, if you liked this lesson, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and check us out at EnglishClass101.com for some other things that can help you with your English studies. Thanks very much for watching this lesson, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye. Hi everybody, my name is Alicia. In this lesson, I'm going to talk about some ways to politely excuse yourself. I'm going to talk about expressions you can use when you make a mistake and expressions that you can use to ask permission to leave somewhere. So let's get started. Okay, the first expression I want to talk about is excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me can be used when you need to ask for something and you have to interrupt someone else. It can also be used when you need to apologize for something small. And we usually use excuse me for apologies with strangers. So for example, if you're walking down the street and you bump someone's shoulder, you might say, excuse me, oh, excuse me. You might hear some native speakers drop this E sound. It might sound more like excuse me, excuse me. So this X might sound like an S sound, excuse me, instead of excuse me. So you can use this as an apology to say, I'm sorry, with strangers or to strangers, or you can use it when you need to ask for something, as in this example sentence. Excuse me, I'm looking for the restroom. Excuse me, I'm looking for the restroom. Again, excuse me is used more commonly with strangers, people that we're not close to. This is a sentence you might use in like a department store or a shopping mall, for example. So you don't know the other person. Excuse me. This is a nice introduction to your question. So excuse me or excuse me. Okay, let's compare this with I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry is better than I am sorry. I am sorry sounds very stiff and unnatural. I'm sorry or just sorry. So I'm sorry sounds a little bit more formal, a little bit more polite than just sorry. So we use sorry when we make a mistake, and we use it when we're close to the other person. Or we use it maybe with strangers sometimes for a very small problem. So again, in like a shopping situation, maybe you touch the person next to you, or you do some small motion that's maybe like a mistake, or it's some small motion that might bother the other person. Some people might say sorry. Sorry is more casual than excuse me in this situation. Oh, sorry. So that sounds a little bit more friendly there. Excuse me sounds a little bit more polite. So I'm sorry or sorry. In this example sentence, I've used I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. So we tend to use so sorry a lot as an emphasis word. You could say I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry to me sounds a little bit more formal than I'm so sorry. So sounds a little more casual. So for example, I'm so sorry. I forgot to send you the file. So here, this is a mistake, and we use I'm sorry here instead of excuse me, because in this case, I forgot to send you the file. It's like the speaker has some relationship with the listener. It's not a stranger in this case. Here, this is probably a stranger. In this case, the speaker has some relationship, so this I'm sorry and I'm so sorry is quite natural. Okay. So let's compare this then to this, sorry. A key here is my question mark, this question mark punctuation point, because I'm sorry and sorry have different meanings. So you can hear the intonation is different. When I want to apologize, I made a mistake, I say, I'm sorry, or just sorry. When I have a question though, I say, sorry, my intonation goes up. So we use this, sorry, when we didn't hear something another person said, or when we don't understand that thing that they just said. So in a situation like this, sorry, I couldn't hear you. So sorry is similar to what? But we use sorry to mean like maybe, oh, sorry, I was being noisy. I couldn't hear you. Or maybe, sorry, I couldn't understand, and that might be a problem for you. So sorry to me feels a little bit softer than just what? If someone like says something and you can't hear them. So sorry. So please note, I'm sorry and sorry have different intonations. So we don't use I'm sorry with an apology. We use this if we didn't hear something another person said. Okay, now let's go on to a couple of permission-related questions. I have for both of these two options in the sentence, or two options in the question, and they are can I and may I. So these are both used in situations where we need to ask someone else. In these cases, I was thinking a teacher or perhaps a colleague. We're asking permission to leave a location. This is one that's very common for students. So we can say, can I use the restroom? Can I use the restroom? Or can I go to the restroom is also okay. Can I go to the restroom? Also, may I use the restroom? May I use the restroom, or may I go to the restroom? So in everyday, at least American English speech, both can I and may I are acceptable. Some teachers, however, are very, very strict about the words that they use, and they prefer students use may I. The reason for this is historically, may I has been used to ask for permission. Can I is used to talk about abilities. So this is the historical difference between these words. But today, in today's English, we use both of them to ask for permission. So can I go to the restroom or can I use the restroom are both okay. So we can change that to may I go to the restroom, may I use the restroom. Both of those are fine. But just every once in a while, I remember this from my school days, my teacher would sometimes say, in response to a student that said, can I use the restroom? The student said, can I use the restroom? The teacher responded, I don't know, can you? So it's kind of a joke, like, is it possible for you to use the restroom? Can you use the restroom? So this sort of joke, this kind of strict English grammar joke, it's not very funny, but it's referring to can's historical use as like an ability-related word. So in most cases, it's not a problem. Most teachers and most people in your life are not going to use this sort of joke. But if you're worried or if you want to avoid this, you can use may I. So the same thing goes for this sentence. The same thing is true here. Can I or may I leave early? So this is something you can use at work if you like. Like, can I leave, or class as well. Can I leave early today, or can I leave early tomorrow? And you should share a reason for this, a reason for excusing yourself for leaving the situation. So again, may I is more historically accurate in terms of asking for permission. Can I is related more to abilities, but they are both used today. So for example, I would say if I have an appointment, may I leave early tomorrow? I have a dentist's appointment. So you can include some time point here. May I leave early today? May I leave early tomorrow? I'm not feeling well. If you use that one, may I leave early today? Make sure it's like, and you're using a feeling, like you're feeling sick, make sure it's the same day. Like, may I leave early tomorrow? I'm not feeling well. That sounds very strange, like you're planning on being sick the next day. That doesn't work. So please use this. I recommend using this with your upcoming appointments and on the same day if you're not feeling well. You could use this expression. May I leave early today? I'm not feeling well. Okay, let's continue then to the next pair. The next pair, actually all of these are a little more formal and not as commonly used in everyday speech. The first one is pardon me. Pardon me. So pardon me is like excuse me, but pardon me is not used, at least in American English, very often in everyday speech. We don't use pardon. It sounds very formal in American English, so we don't use it unless we want to sound very polite for some reason. Even in business, we don't really use this so much. We use excuse me more often in American English. So pardon me can be used, again, if you meet a stranger and there's a small problem, like you brush against them or you maybe accidentally push your body into a person on the elevator. You could say, oh, pardon me. You can also use this to interrupt someone, as I talked about here, like you're looking for information. Pardon me, I'm looking for the restroom. So again, it does sound quite formal. We don't use this so much in American English, but this is how it is sometimes used. The same point then applies here for this pardon, pardon as a question. So as a question, it means this as a question. Sorry, what? What did you say? So pardon, I didn't catch that. What was that? I couldn't hear you. So again, your intonation should go up when you say this pardon. It's different from pardon me, pardon me. So pardon, it's a question. An example of how we use this is pardon, I don't understand. So again, let's compare this to the pronunciation of pardon me, which we use to interrupt someone. Pardon me, do you know where the nearest supermarket is? So again, we're asking for information here, probably from a stranger. So we use pardon me or excuse me to do that. All right, let's go on to the last pair. These use the word forgive, forgive. So to forgive someone means to accept their apology. So they did something wrong and you know they did something wrong. They say they're sorry and you say, okay, I understand. It's okay, no problem. That's to forgive someone. So forgive me, forgive me. We use this expression after usually a big mistake, and we use it usually with people we are very close to. So this could be like your mother, father, grandmother, grandfather, your close family members. You could use it with your partner, your spouse, husband, wife, whatever. You can use this for, big mistakes that maybe have some strong effect on your relationship. You might use this in some cases for a serious work-related problem. So just keep in mind, this is a fairly formal expression we use more in serious mistake situations. For example, please forgive me, I won't do it again. Please forgive me, I won't do it again. So maybe you spent a lot of money on a new boat or something, and your partner didn't know about it, and it was a huge problem. So you might say, please forgive me, I won't do it again, I'll sell the boat. So you need to show you're going to take some action to fix the problem. If you use this expression, please forgive me. So I'm so sorry, and then express usually some way, some plan that you have to fix the problem you caused. So forgive me. Again, usually used in serious, kind of heavy situations. Okay, let's move on to the last one. This last one I included here because you might hear it if you attend, for example, a dinner party or other type of event where someone is hosting a group of people, like at their home or at an event space. So it is forgive my rudeness, forgive my rudeness. So rudeness, this means like bad behavior. It doesn't really mean like actually bad behavior. It means like they're not being a very good host in the situation. So this is actually kind of a mild phrase. This is used, for example, when you arrive at a party, when you arrive at someone's home and the host greets you and you're talking for a long time, maybe in front of the door. And the host might realize this and say, oh, forgive my rudeness. Would you like something to drink? Like, please come inside. Like, it was rude of me. Or it was bad behavior, bad host behavior, to talk to you just here at the door for a long time. So please forgive my rudeness. So it sounds quite formal. This is somewhat of a formal phrase, but it's something that like a party host would use for a nice dinner, for example. So you might hear this. You might hear this in media as well too. Forgive my rudeness. So it's actually kind of a friendly phrase. It shows you care about the other person, and you usually do something like offer them a drink or offer them to come inside, offer to take their coat. You usually do something to show that you care about the other person and you want them to enjoy their time. So forgive my rudeness. Okay, so this is just, I think, the most basic set of expressions that we use to excuse ourselves or to apologize. You might hear some variations, but I think that these are pretty good for most situations. Just to recap then, in summary, these are the phrases and the words that we use if we make a mistake. So they are sorry, or I'm sorry, with that downward intonation, I'm sorry. We can use pardon me, or just pardon as well is okay. We can use excuse me, and we can use forgive me, again in more serious situations. In most cases, I use I'm sorry, or just sorry. So that one is most common, I feel, in everyday life, followed by excuse me, I think. So these are mistake expressions, and we also talked about these two patterns you can use to leave a room, like to leave a classroom or perhaps to leave part of your workplace. So I hope that this is helpful for you. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to let us know in the comment section of this video. Also, if you liked this lesson, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel if you have not already, and check us out at EnglishClass101.com for some other things that can help you with your English studies. Thanks very much for watching this lesson, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye. Hi everybody, my name is Alicia. In this lesson, I'm going to talk about how to express humility in English. Let's get started. Okay, first, I want to define what is humility. Humility is a noun. Humility is a state of not thinking you are better than other people. So humility it's considered a good state. So we don't think like, I'm better than that person, or that person is below me, or something like that. Humility is considered a positive state to be in. So there are a couple of different situations where it's common to express humility. First, I'm going to talk about some expressions you can use if you receive a special award of some kind, or if you receive kind of like an honorable recognition. These two are some cases at work or maybe in your studies where it's important to express humility. So first, let's take a look at these expressions. We would use these when we receive awards. So the first expression is, I am honored to accept this award. So a key word here is honored. So honor is the root. So that means it's like respectable. So it's something that's very special, and I feel appreciative. I want to say thank you and show that I respect this situation. I am honored to accept. So to accept means like it's okay, I will take it. I am honored to accept this award. So this is how maybe lots of awards speeches begin. If you have watched English-speaking awards shows, you might hear something similar to this and this. Similarly, it's a great honor to receive this award. So these two, they really mean the same thing, just slightly different ways of saying it. Here we're using honor as a noun, so it's a great honor or I am honored. They really mean the same thing. Here I'm using the verb to receive instead of to accept. In this case, they do mean the same thing. They mean like to take. Accept in some cases can have the idea or have the feeling of something being like okay, where receive just means like I'm going to take this, like paperwork. I've received your paperwork, I'm putting it over here. Whereas like to accept something means like to confirm something. So for example, like you accept a student to a university. So receiving is like just taking them, but accepting a student to a university is like saying, okay, great, like you're part of the university now. To accept an award is similar, like we had to approve the acceptance of the award. So there's a very, very small difference there. In general, in this case, these two really mean the same thing. They're just different ways to say a similar expression. Let's take a look, though, at the third one here. I greatly appreciate your consideration. I greatly appreciate your consideration. This would be okay to use if you receive an award. Maybe this could be sentence 2, like I'm honored to accept this award. I greatly appreciate your consideration. Here, you could change this if you like. Your means the group of people who decided to give you the award, or the group of people who gave you like special recognition or gave you an honor. I greatly appreciate your consideration. If this is like a board of directors at a company, you could replace your with the board's consideration. I greatly appreciate the board's consideration. So this is a good, very general expression. It doesn't have to be for an award, just for special recognition is okay. Like you get a special bonus, for example. Wow, I greatly appreciate your consideration. All right, so let's continue to 2 more samples. These are for more like an honorable recognition, or like you have received an honorable invitation to something, like to join a very respected project or project like an organization, or you're going to participate in something, an exciting project that is very respected. So first sentence is, I am grateful to have been able to participate in this project. So this is actually a sentence we would use if the speaker, in this case me, if I have finished my role in the project. I am grateful to have been able. So this means I had the life experience of participating in this project. I had this experience. I was able to. So that sounds, again, it's like you're lowering yourself. You're making yourself sound a little bit lower. That's that humility point here. I'm grateful to have been able to participate. This sounds much more polite. This expresses humility much more than I'm happy I could join. Like, I'm happy I could join doesn't express the same level of appreciation. So grateful shows your respect for this situation, and this, I'm grateful to have been able to. So that means it sounds like maybe in another situation, this would not have been possible. So I'm grateful to have been able to participate in this project. Really shows your respect for that project. Similarly here, I am thrilled to have the opportunity to participate. So thrilled, this means like excited, very excited, but it sounds a little more formal in this case. So it's a stronger word that means excited. I am thrilled to have the opportunity to participate. So this is probably for an upcoming project. Here I used to have been able to, suggesting that the project has concluded, it's finished. Here I am thrilled to have the opportunity to participate. A sentence like this is something used when we're going to start something new. Again, here I'm using some words that show my respect for the situation. I am thrilled to have the opportunity. So opportunity means chance, but opportunity sounds more formal than chance. So I'm thrilled that there's this great chance and I want to express it more formally to show that I respect the situation. So these are two good ones you can use for an honorable project you can join, or you've received recognition for participating in a project. So again, this is for something that's probably finished or is going to finish very soon. And this is probably for something that's coming up in the future. Okay, before I get to this point, I want to go to the second group. The second group of expressions here is expressing gratitude. So that means ways to say thank you. Expressing gratitude for your teammates, for your community, for your family, and so on, for the people around you. So a key to expressing humility is that you don't focus on yourself only. It's not just me, I did all this stuff on my own, but who are the people I worked with? So how do I express my appreciation for those people on my team or in my community? So some expressions you can use. This one is very general. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for your support. So a company can use this with their customers, like in an email to their customers who have helped them in some way. We could use this on YouTube, for example. Like if I want to say to the viewers who like the video, who leave comments, I could say thank you so much for your support. So this is a polite expression that shows your appreciation for a group of people or for just one person even. And it also sounds a little bit friendly. So thank you so much for your support. You can remove this so much and make the sentence thank you for your support. I like to say thank you so much for your support. So I think it shows a little bit more strongly the appreciation. Another one we can use is this. I or we couldn't do it without you. I couldn't do it without you. We couldn't do it without you. A variation on this is I couldn't have done it without you. I couldn't have done it without you is what it sounds like at native speed. Couldn't have done it without you. So couldn't have done it without you means, again, something like this. Grateful to have been, we use that. Couldn't have done it without you means that something happened in the past, and without that person or without that group, the project or the action would not have been possible. So we say in the present, I could not, past, I could not have done it without you. So we're using perfect tense to describe that relationship there. So here, I'm not using that. I'm just using simple, we couldn't do it without you. I couldn't do it without you. So for example, like our channel. So we couldn't do it without you, where you is our viewers. So in this case, it, in this sentence, refers to the activities of the speaker. So in our case, we couldn't do it without you means we could not make the channel without our viewers. Like the viewers are important for us so that we can get your feedback and so that we can try to make informative videos that help people. So in this case, that's our it. So you means the people around the person speaking. So it just refers to the activities there. So other companies might say, like, we couldn't do it without you, like we couldn't make our products without our customers. That's a very common one. Or maybe an athlete could say it, I couldn't do it without the fans. Maybe an entertainer or an athlete would say something like that. So it's to express their appreciation, and to say like, my job would not be possible without you. That's what this really means. And that's a breakdown of the sentence. Okay, let's move on to the next expression, which is thank you to everyone on our team. Thank you to everyone on our team. This is very general. Some other variations are like thank you to our wonderful team members, thank you to our amazing team, and so on. So this can be used for your work. You can use this in sports. You can use this at school if you're working in a group project. You could change team to group. Thank you to everyone in our group, though. We change the preposition on our team or in our group. We do not use on a group. We use in a group. So this is really great for talking about your colleagues and your coworkers. So for example, if I want to use this expression to talk about our team here, I could say thank you to everyone on our team for their hard work. Something like that is a good way to express appreciation for your teammates. Okay, onward to the next set of expressions. This one, I made this one about family. This I thought was a nice follow-up to the award-related expressions we talked about earlier. So you receive an award. For example, I am honored to accept this reward. I greatly appreciate your consideration. Thank you to everyone on our team for their hard work. I would also like to thank my family for their support. So this is something you might hear at an awards speech. I have here, I would like. This is one situation where it's natural not to reduce to I'd like to thank. I would like to thank my family. This sounds more formal, and in this situation, accepting an award, it sounds more natural to be more formal, so it's okay here. I would like to thank my family for their support. Of course, you can change this. I would like to thank my wife. I would like to thank my husband. I would like to thank my partner for his or her or their support. So you can change this as well too, but generally support is a nice word to use that's kind of open. Okay, onward. This one is good for like a community-related event, like a volunteer event or something organized in your town or city. Thank you to all the community members who volunteered their time and effort. Their time and effort. This is, I think, a good expression to include here. You could say, thank you to all the community members who volunteered. That's great. But showing that you recognize the other people gave you their time and their effort. So effort means like their energy. They took action to do something. So they participated and they gave time and effort for something that you put together is a really important thing to notice, I think. It's an important thing to recognize. So this is a good one for a community event. Of course, you could use just people. Thank you to all the people who volunteered their time and effort too. But if this is like a city or a town event, it might be good to consider your local community by using a word such as this. Okay, so I want to finish this lesson with just a couple very small points. We commonly use a few expressions when responding to compliments. So a reminder, a compliment is when someone gives you nice feedback, gives you a nice comment about something, and you want to express humility, like, oh, it's not so great, or no, 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 that feeling. So these are a few very common ways we do that. Let's imagine we get a compliment. Someone says, I like your shirt. You can respond by saying, you're too kind, you're too kind. You could also say, it's nothing. We'll often say something like, it's nothing, like this is old, or this was so cheap. So we kind of put ourselves down sometimes in this way, sometimes. It depends a little bit on the person. You could say, oh, that's so nice of you to say. That's so nice of you to say. Or you could just say, aw, thanks, as well, too. Aw, so AWW here means aw, thanks. So it depends on the person. If you compliment someone and they say, like, it's nothing, that's a fairly natural response. Some people, when you compliment, will just say, thank you. I bought it at such and such store. That's also very natural. But if you would like to express humility, you can use one of these expressions. I tend to use something like this. Not it's nothing, but I will use a specific adjective in the moment. Like if someone compliments my shirt, I'll say, oh, this is so old. Like it was so cheap. I usually choose a specific adjective related to the compliment. Or if someone says like, I like your new haircut, I would say, oh, me too, but you know, I can't style it perfectly. Like I tend to choose like a specific point that I can kind of make myself sound a little bit lower in that moment. So that's kind of up to you. You can kind of listen to the compliment and choose how you want to respond. If you're not sure, you don't know how to use this, you can just say, thank you, I appreciate it. So these are just a couple ways that we respond to compliments, everyday small points in daily life. So I hope that this lesson was helpful. I hope you learned some good ways to express humility, and I hope that you have many reasons to use these expressions. It's very positive, I think. So if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to let us know in the comment section of this video. Also, you can feel free to practice making a speech if you want, like an award acceptance speech. That might be interesting. If you liked the video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel if you have not already, and check us out at EnglishClass101.com for some other things that can help you with your English studies. Thanks very much for watching this lesson, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Cocoa. 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 Cocoa is a very popular drink. It is chocolatey, and we often mix it with milk to create hot cocoa. A warm cup of cocoa is comforting on a cold winter night. A warm cup of cocoa is comforting on a cold winter night. A warm cup of cocoa is comforting on a cold winter night. Soft drink. Soft drink. Soft drink. A soft drink is any kind of drink that does not have alcohol in it. This could be soda, it could be juice, it could be tea. These are all soft drinks. Soft drinks don't contain alcohol and are usually carbonated and served cold. Soft drinks don't contain alcohol and are usually carbonated and served cold. Soft drinks don't contain alcohol and are usually carbonated and served cold. Juice. 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 Juice is a drink that comes from a fruit or a vegetable. Juice is generally quite healthy and it tastes pretty good. Fresh fruit juice is a great way to start any day. Fresh fruit juice is a great way to start any day. Fresh fruit juice is a great way to start any day. Bookshelf. 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 A bookshelf is a piece of furniture. Typically, we use it to keep our books. It is a shelf for our books, but many people use it for other storage too. The bookshelf is full of books. The bookshelf is full of books. The bookshelf is full of books. Bed. 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 A bed is a piece of furniture. A bed is the place where we sleep. There are many different sizes. I bought a new bed. I bought a new bed. I bought a new bed. Mirror. 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 A mirror is an object that is reflective. That means that we can see our faces when we look into it. We typically have mirrors in our bathroom, and we can refer to small mirrors as hand mirrors. The mirror is hanging on the wall. The mirror is hanging on the wall. The mirror is hanging on the wall. Dresser. 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 A dresser is something that we have in our house to store our clothes. This might be inside the closet. It might be inside a room. It can be very big, very small. There are many different styles of dresser. In my house, I don't have a dresser. In my house, I don't have a dresser. In my house, I don't have a dresser. Sweep, sweep, sweep. Sweep is a verb. We use the word sweep when we talk about cleaning house with a broom. So this motion is called sweeping. So when we want to clean things off the floor, we sweep the floor. It's so dusty. Sweep the floor. It's so dusty. Sweep the floor. It's so dusty. Sweep the floor. Put away. Put away. Put away. To put something away or to put away something means to replace something. So after we use an item in our kitchen, somewhere else in our house, after we use it and we're finished using it, we need to put it away to replace that item in its correct position. I put away the dishes. I put away the dishes. I put away the dishes. Mop. 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 Mop is interesting. A mop, as a noun, refers to the tool we use to clean our floors. It's something that we use with water and soap. We also use this word as a verb to mean to clean the floors with soap and with this scrubbing motion. I spilled the juice, so I'll mop the floor. I spilled the juice, so I'll mop the floor. I spilled the juice, so I'll mop the floor. Waitress. 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 A waitress is staff at a restaurant. A waitress is a female staff member who takes orders and delivers them to the kitchen and also brings food to the table. The waitress is holding a tray with glasses. The waitress is holding a tray with glasses. The waitress is holding a tray with glasses. Fahrenheit. 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 So Fahrenheit refers to the scale that is used in the USA to measure temperature. Water freezes at 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Water freezes at 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Water freezes at 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Temperature. 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 Temperature refers to how hot or how cold something is. Temperature is increasing. Temperature is increasing. Temperature is increasing. Humid. 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 Humid refers to a weather condition or to an air condition where there is a lot of water in the air. The air feels kind of sticky or heavy. In this country, the climate is humid. In this country, the climate is humid. In this country, the climate is humid. Windy. 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 Windy is an adjective that refers to a weather condition where there's a lot of wind. It's windy outside. It's windy outside. It's windy outside. Playground. 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 A playground is a special feature in a park. They're often brightly colored. The goal of a playground is to give children a place to play. Is there also a slide on the playground? Is there also a slide on the playground? Is there also a slide on the playground? Pool. 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 You can think of a pool kind of like a really, really big bathtub. They're places where we can swim in our cities. The lifeguard is watching the pool. The lifeguard is watching the pool. The lifeguard is watching the pool. Tennis. 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 Tennis is a very popular sport. It's played with 2 people, sometimes with 4 people as well, and the players pass a ball, or rather hit a ball, back and forth across a net. Shall we play tennis? Shall we play tennis? Shall we play tennis? Basketball. 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 Basketball is a very popular sport where 2 teams compete against each other to score the most points by throwing a ball through a basket. Most basketball players are tall. Most basketball players are tall. Most basketball players are tall. Leader. Leader. Liter. A liter is a unit of measurement, but this unit of measurement is used for liquid. How many liters of milk did you buy? How many liters of milk did you buy? How many liters of milk did you buy? Rice. 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 Rice is a very common food. We eat rice with meals, usually as a side dish, but you might also see it used as a main dish. Today, I should buy a lot of rice. Today, I should buy a lot of rice. Today, I should buy a lot of rice. Bread. 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 Bread is another very popular carbohydrate. We often eat bread in the mornings, especially warmed up as toast. I buy my bread at the bakery. I buy my bread at the bakery. I buy my bread at the bakery. Egg. 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 So an egg refers to the raw form of an egg, usually as it comes from a chicken. We can also use the same word to refer to an egg after we cook it. I boil an egg. I boil an egg. I boil an egg. Noodle. 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 So noodle is a countable noun. The plural form is noodles. We typically have noodles in soup or in pasta dishes. Instant noodles are a popular light meal. Instant noodles are a popular light meal. Instant noodles are a popular light meal. Alarm clock. Alarm clock. Alarm clock. So an alarm clock is a clock that has an alarm function. Many of us use our phones as alarm clocks these days. The alarm clock is set for 5 a.m. The alarm clock is set for 5 a.m. The alarm clock is set for 5 a.m. Door. 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 So a door is the thing that we use to enter or exit a room. You can open or close a door, or in some cases, you can slide open or slide a door closed. Can you close the door? Can you close the door? Can you close the door? Remote control. Remote control. Remote control. A remote control is something we can hold in our hands so we can remotely control something else. That means from a distance, we are able to control something like a TV or air conditioner or something like that. Please pass me the remote control. Please pass me the remote control. Please pass me the remote control. Wipe. 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 So to wipe as a verb refers to this motion. We use the verb wipe often when we talk about cleaning something, like wiping windows or maybe wiping a table, wiping some kind of surface, usually to clean it. Don't forget to wipe the floor. Don't forget to wipe the floor. Don't forget to wipe the floor. Menu, menu, menu. A menu is like a list of choices. We usually think of menus when we visit restaurants, but you can have menus in other situations too. For example, maybe you have menus on your computer or menus on your TV. It's a list of things you can choose from. The customer is looking at the menu. The customer is looking at the menu. The customer is looking at the menu. Magazine, magazine, magazine. A magazine is a group of articles generally, though you might also see groups of photographs put together. Magazines are generally provided to people once a month or maybe 4 times a year, something like that. So you can usually find magazines about specific topics. Would you like to read some magazines? Would you like to read some magazines? Would you like to read some magazines? Audiobook, audiobook, audiobook. So an audiobook is a book that you can listen to. This is different from a regular book because we read regular books. With an audiobook, you can listen and read at the same time if you like. I listen to audiobooks during my commute to work. I listen to audiobooks during my commute to work. I listen to audiobooks during my commute to work. Video game, video game, video game. So a video game refers to a game that you can play on your TV or these days also on your computer or your smartphone. We say video game, but it's kind of any game that has a video component to it, something that we can see as we play the game. I'm going to buy a new video game this weekend. I'm going to buy a new video game this weekend. I'm going to buy a new video game this weekend. Cheap, cheap, cheap. Cheap is the opposite of expensive. When something is cheap, that means it's available for us to buy at a low price, especially at a price lower than we expect. I'm looking for a cheap pair of shoes. I'm looking for a cheap pair of shoes. I'm looking for a cheap pair of shoes. Expensive, expensive, expensive. So expensive is the opposite of cheap, which we just talked about. Expensive refers to something that has a high price, especially for things that maybe are higher priced than usual. It's too expensive. It's too expensive. It is too expensive. Kind, kind, kind. So the word kind, when used as an adjective, refers to someone who is nice. They are good to other people. She is a kind person with a big smile. She is a kind person with a big smile. She is a kind person with a big smile. Scary, scary, scary. So the adjective scary refers to something that causes us to feel fear. So something outside us is scary. Please keep in mind that when you want to talk about your own emotions, you should describe that as scared. Dark streets are scary. Dark streets are scary. Dark streets are scary. Relaxing. 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 Something that is relaxing is something that causes us to feel relaxed. So again, this is something outside of us. We might hear a relaxing sound like water. We might listen to relaxing music, or we might smell something relaxing. It's something outside of us. We describe our feeling with relaxed. Massages are very relaxing. Massages are very relaxing. Massages are very relaxing. Pound, pound, pound. So in American English, we use the word pound typically to refer to a unit of measurement. In the US, we use pounds to measure weight. 1 pound is 16 ounces. 1 pound is 16 ounces. 1 pound is 16 ounces. Mile, mile, mile. So mile is another word that we use in American English to talk about the distances between things. We typically use mile to describe the distances between two cities. So you might hear kilometer used in other countries and in other types of English. In American English, because of the measurement system we use miles. 1 mile is roughly 1.6 kilometers. 1 mile is roughly 1.6 kilometers. 1 mile is roughly 1.6 kilometers. Foot, foot, foot. So this use of foot refers to another measurement system that is used in the USA. Foot, yes, does refer to the part of your body, but when you see foot used to talk about measurement, it's referring to a size about this big. There are 12 inches in a foot. There are 12 inches in a foot. There are 12 inches in a foot. Illness, illness, illness. So illness refers to a type of disease or like a type of sickness. We don't really say, I have an illness. It sounds a little bit too formal, but we use illness to describe the level of seriousness of something. For example, he has a cold. It's only a minor illness. He has a cold. It's only a minor illness. He has a cold. It's only a minor illness. Cold, cold, cold. So this use of cold looks at the use that we have to describe a very, very minor sickness. So yes, we can use cold as an adjective to describe low temperatures, but when you see cold used to talk about sickness, it refers to usually something like a runny nose or a sore throat or feeling tired. I think I caught a cold. I think I caught a cold. I think I caught a cold. Injury, injury, injury. Injury is a noun, and it's different from illness or from cold because an injury is something that happens to the body. For example, you have an accident playing sports. That is an injury. And illness refers to some small germs that get into the body and that cause us to be sick. So an injury is something that happens outside you. He suffered a knee injury. He suffered a knee injury. He suffered a knee injury. Medicine, medicine, medicine. Medicine is what we take to improve our condition. We can use medicine to kill bad germs or to help our body fight bad germs. We can also use medicine to reduce pain in the body. He was given a lot of medicine. He was given a lot of medicine. He was given a lot of medicine. Pain. 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 So pain is a noun. Pain refers to the uncomfortable, the unpleasant feeling in the body we have after an injury. Please keep in mind, pain and hurt are very, very different. Pain is a noun, hurt is a verb. So when you want to talk about your body feeling uncomfortable, you can say, I have pain, or it hurts. This pain is unbearable. This pain is unbearable. This pain is unbearable. Fever. 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 Fever is a noun, and it refers to the body temperature being higher than normal. So most people have a body temperature that's around 98.6 degrees if we use Fahrenheit, or maybe about 37 degrees or so in Celsius. A fever refers to body temperature that's higher than that. And this is used to indicate whether we are sick or not. She's in bed with a fever. She's in bed with a fever. She's in bed with a fever. Window. 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 So a window is a fixture, a feature in a building. It's usually made of glass, though sometimes it's just open, and it allows us to look out beyond the building. Open the window, please. Open the window, please. Open the window, please. Alcohol. 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 Alcohol in everyday conversation usually refers to something that we drink for fun or maybe because we feel sad in some cases. So it's usually, in many countries, an adults-only drink. We can also use alcohol to talk about an ingredient in cleaning products, though. Like we might use an alcohol sanitizing solution to clean our hands. Whiskey is an alcohol. Whiskey is an alcohol. Whiskey is an alcohol. Meal. 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 So meal refers to the type of food that we eat at the beginning, middle, and end of the day. We call those times when we eat meals. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Fog. 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 Fog is a noun, though you may also hear the word foggy, adjective, used to talk about this weather condition. You can imagine fog as like a lot of clouds very, very low to the ground. The city is covered in fog. The city is covered in fog. The city is covered in fog. Hail. 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 So hail, when used to talk about weather conditions, refers to tiny or sometimes large balls of ice that fall from the sky. It can be quite dangerous. Hail is dangerous. Hail is dangerous. Hail is dangerous. Thunderstorm. 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 A thunderstorm refers to a type of storm that's not just rain and clouds. It's those things plus the sound of thunder. Please keep in mind when we talk about thunder and lightning in a storm, thunder is the sound and lightning is the cracks of light. A thunderstorm is approaching. A thunderstorm is approaching. A thunderstorm is approaching. Aquarium. 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 An aquarium keeps fish and other things that like to live in water. So you can have a small aquarium in your house, or you can visit a larger aquarium that keeps big fish and other exotic creatures. You might have an aquarium in your city. When are we going to the aquarium? When are we going to the aquarium? When are we going to the aquarium? Soccer. 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 Soccer is the word that we use in American English to talk about the sport that many other countries call football. It's fun to play soccer. It's fun to play soccer. It's fun to play soccer. Zoo. 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 A zoo is a park for exotic animals. So many big cities have zoos. You can go there, look at the animals, learn something about them, and in some places you can actually touch some of the animals. Tomorrow we're going to the zoo. Tomorrow we're going to the zoo. Tomorrow we're going to the zoo. Fair. Fair. Fare. So fare, when used to talk about transportation, refers to how much it costs to take a mode of transportation, or how much it costs to go from one place to another. How much is the bus fare? How much is the bus fare? How much is the bus fare? Bus stop. Bus stop. Bus stop. A bus stop is a place along the route of a bus. So there are typically many bus stops on a bus route. It's a location where you can get on the bus or get off the bus. Let's meet at the bus stop. Let's meet at the bus stop. Let's meet at the bus stop. Gram. 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 A gram is a unit of measurement. You may not hear this word used so much to talk about weights in American English. You might hear this more commonly used in British English, where the metric system is used. When he was born, he weighed 3 kilos and 200 grams. When he was born, he weighed 3 kilos and 200 grams. When he was born, he weighed 3 kilos and 200 grams. Meter. 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 So, like the previous vocabulary word, meter tends to be used more often in countries that use the metric system for measurement. A meter is often used to talk about distances between locations, usually within walking distance. There are 100 centimeters in a meter. There are 100 centimeters in a meter. There are 100 centimeters in a meter. Kilometer. 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 A kilometer is another unit of distance. Again, like the previous two vocabulary words, this is more commonly used in countries that have the metric system or that use the metric system. We use kilometers to measure usually distances between cities. He walked 10 kilometers. He walked 10 kilometers. He walked 10 kilometers. Headache. 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 A headache is a pain in your head. So when we say, I have a headache, it refers to a pain that's specifically maybe around this area, or for many people, perhaps in the back of the head. My headache is getting worse. My headache is getting worse. My headache is getting worse. Diarrhea. 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 Diarrhea is a very, very unpleasant condition where your body has trouble processing food and drinks correctly. Maybe you have a germ or maybe you ate something that was not good for your stomach, and so you have to use the bathroom a lot, or the way that your body produces waste changes a bit. This medicine will stop the diarrhea. This medicine will stop the diarrhea. This medicine will stop the diarrhea. Symptom. 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 So a symptom is something that you notice that gives you a clue about your sickness. So common symptoms are like fever or a runny nose or a sore throat. These are like the parts of an illness. What are your symptoms? What are your symptoms? What are your symptoms? Stomach ache. Stomach ache. Stomach ache. So a stomach ache refers to, again, an unpleasant feeling in the body, maybe because you ate something bad or maybe because of an illness. But a stomach ache refers to the pain in your body. The earlier word that we talked about that also refers to a pain or an unpleasant feeling in the stomach refers to the waste the body produces. This one is very, very common, especially among kids, stomach aches. Yesterday, I had a bad stomach ache. Yesterday, I had a bad stomach ache. Yesterday, I had a bad stomach ache. Clean. 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 So clean can be used as both an adjective and as a verb. When we use it as a verb, it means to make something tidy or to organize something or to sanitize something. As in, did you clean your room? Did you clean your room? Did you clean your room? Dry. 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 So dry can be used as a verb and as an adjective. When we use it as a verb, it can mean to remove the moisture from something, like when you dry your hair. It can also mean to leave something alone and allow the moisture to leave that thing. For example, I'm waiting for the paint to dry. I'm waiting for the paint to dry. I'm waiting for the paint to dry. Dust. 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 Dust can be used as both a noun and a verb. When we use dust as a noun, it refers to the very, very small pieces of dirt that we find usually in the corners of our homes, or maybe we find it on tops of shelves and so on. I am allergic to dust. I am allergic to dust. I am allergic to dust. Vacuum. 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 Vacuum is both a noun and a verb. When we use vacuum as a verb, it means to use a vacuum cleaner, so a machinery specifically for picking up dust to clean our house. I have to vacuum the hallway before the guests come. I have to vacuum the hallway before the guests come. I have to vacuum the hallway before the guests come. Intersection. 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 So an intersection refers to a place where two roads meet, the two roads cross. We talk about the middle point of those roads as the intersection. There is traffic in the intersection. There is traffic in the intersection. There is traffic in the intersection. Highway. 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 A highway is a road that sometimes is actually higher than other roads, though not always. Sometimes it's at a regular level. But a highway is generally a place where cars can travel very quickly. Highways are generally outside of cities or they're above cities. Traffic conditions on the highway are normal this morning. Traffic conditions on the highway are normal this morning. Traffic conditions on the highway are normal this morning. Road, road, road. So road is a very general word that we can apply to many different situations. A highway is a type of road. You can imagine a path in the park is kind of like a small road. Your everyday city streets we can call roads as well. So basically anything that you use to travel, usually with a car or maybe with a bicycle, is something we can call a road. There is ice on the road. There is ice on the road. There is ice on the road. Street, street, street. So we use streets as a way to organize our cities. So we often use street and road interchangeably. So we tend to use street when we're talking maybe about cities or in neighborhood situations. Let's cross the street. Let's cross the street. Let's cross the street. Interesting. 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 Interesting is an adjective. We use interesting to describe something that we find cool or something that sparks our curiosity, something that is exciting to us. The title of the book seemed interesting. The title of the book seemed interesting. The title of the book seemed interesting. Mean, mean, mean. We use the word mean to describe someone who is unkind. Someone who is mean is not nice to other people. Some people are just mean and don't want others to be happy. Some people are just mean and don't want others to be happy. Some people are just mean and don't want others to be happy. Bored, bored, bored. So bored is used to talk about your own feelings. When there's nothing to do, or you don't feel excited, or you don't feel interested in something, you can describe that feeling with bored. Remember, when you want to talk about something outside you that doesn't cause you to feel interested, you describe that thing as boring. Your emotions, bored. I'm bored. I'm bored. I'm bored. 700. 700. 700. When you're counting numbers by hundreds, just put the base number before 100. In this case, 7 plus 100 makes 700. This statue is 700 years old. This statue is 700 years old. This statue is 700 years old. 800. 800. 800. So just like the last example, 800 refers to 8 hundredths of something. The field is 800 hectares. The field is 800 hectares. The field is 800 hectares. 200. 200. 200. So again, when you're counting by hundreds, simply put the number before the word hundred. So 200 refers to 2 100ths of something. We have over 200 books here. We have over 200 books here. We have over 200 books here. 300. 300. 300. Again, the latest example, 3 plus 100 refers to 3 100ths of something. You can see that in English, we don't make a change to the number that comes before 100. In some languages, your number that you use to count hundreds may change according to the sound or according to the spelling of the word. In English, we do not need to change this base number. This school has 300 students. This school has 300 students. This school has 300 students. 600. 600. 600. Our final example of hundreds today is 600. So again, 6 comes before the word hundred to refer to 6 100ths of something. 6 times 100 equals 600. 6 times 100 equals 600. 6 times 100 equals 600. Take out. Take out. Take out. So the verb take out means to remove something from a location. We often use take out when we're talking about removing something from our house or removing something from a closet. We can also use it to talk about removing food from a restaurant when we take out our order. Can you take out the trash, please? Can you take out the trash, please? Can you take out the trash, please? Waiter. 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 A waiter is a person at a restaurant or perhaps a cafe that takes your order. We typically use the word waiter to talk about staff who are male. I'll call the waiter. I'll call the waiter. I'll call the waiter. Weather report. Weather report. Weather report. A weather report is the part of the news, or maybe the part of the newspaper, that gives you information about the weather. It usually tells you about a week in advance about what the weather is going to be like. Check the weather report before going sailing. Check the weather report before going sailing. Check the weather report before going sailing. Celsius. 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 Celsius is the system that is used to measure temperature, typically in countries that use the metric system. You might see it shortened as C when you're seeing measurements in degrees. Water freezes at 0 degrees Celsius. Water freezes at 0 degrees Celsius. Water freezes at 0 degrees Celsius. TV show. TV show. TV show. A TV show is some kind of program on your TV. You can see on your TV, or these days we can watch on our computers as well. It's usually a series. There are several episodes in a show. So we don't use TV show to talk about movies. We use TV show to talk about things that have episodes, many different episodes. I always watch this TV show. I always watch this TV show. I always watch this TV show. Jogging. 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 Jogging is the name of a very popular form of exercise. As a verb, it's to jog, but jogging, the noun form, expresses the name of the activity, which is just light running. Jogging is fun. Jogging is fun. Jogging is fun. Fast food. Fast food. Fast food. Fast food is food that you can receive quickly. Generally, we imagine very, very big companies like McDonald's or Burger King or maybe Taco Bell or whatever your country has, some kind of place where you can go to get food very quickly. Generally, fast food is not so healthy, but there may be some healthy options out there. I crave fast food every once in a while. I crave fast food every once in a while. I crave fast food every once in a while. Park. 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 A park is a place in your city or in your community that's usually big and open and green. There might be places to sit or places for kids to play. It's a public space that the community can use to enjoy some fresh air and get some exercise. Let's go to the park. Let's go to the park. Let's go to the park. Traffic light. Traffic light. Traffic light. A traffic light is the light that you see above a street when you're using a car or when you're walking around your city. In many US cities and most US cities, the lights are green, yellow, and red. You may also hear these called traffic signals. For your safety, check the traffic lights. For your safety, check the traffic lights. For your safety, check the traffic lights. Sign. 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 A sign is something you see on the side of the road or next to the road that gives you some information about something coming up, or it gives you an action to do, a command. For example, stop when you see the stop sign. Stop when you see the stop sign. Stop when you see the stop sign. Subway. 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 A subway is an underground transportation system. So this is different from a train. A train is above the ground. A subway is usually below the ground. Maybe in some cases the subway comes up out of the ground or comes outside for a short period of time, but usually subways are all underground transportation systems. I take the subway to the office. I take the subway to the office. I take the subway to the office. Train station. Train station. Train station. A train station is a transportation hub. It's a place where a train stops. You can get on and get off the train there. I can't find the train station. I can't find the train station. I can't find the train station. 500. 500. 500. When you count by hundreds, use a base number plus the word hundred. This one means 5 1/100ths of something. My house is 500 meters from here. My house is 500 meters from here. My house is 500 meters from here. 999. 999. 999. So this number is special because it is the last number that we use with the 100 counting pattern. After this number, we typically use the 1,000 word to count numbers. We bought 999 chairs for the event. We bought 999 chairs for the event. We bought 999 chairs for the event. 101. 101. 101. When you're counting 3-digit numbers, typically it will follow a pattern like this. Number, 100, and another number. It's also extremely common to see 101, so an and before the final number. My score was 101. My score was 101. My score was 101. 400. 400. 400. So again, when you're using the 100 counting pattern, simply use the base number plus the word 100. There is no change to the base number when you're using it with 100. One lap in the stadium is 400 meters long. One lap in the stadium is 400 meters long. One lap in the stadium is 400 meters long. 900. 900. 900. So another example in the 100 counting pattern, we use 9 plus 100 to mean 9 1/100ths of something. The antique spoon was 900 years old. The antique spoon was 900 years old. The antique spoon was 900 years old. Inch. 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 So an inch is a small unit of measurement. We use this in the USA. It's not used so much in countries that use the metric system. We use it to measure everyday objects, the dimensions of everyday objects, and also on like construction sites and in places where we are building things. I just bought a 40-inch flat screen television. I just bought a 40-inch flat screen television. I just bought a 40-inch flat screen television. Kilogram. 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 A kilogram is a unit of measurement. We use kilograms to measure weight. You will typically see this used in countries that use the metric system. Kilogram is not so commonly used in the US. 1 kilogram is 1,000 grams. 1 kilogram is 1,000 grams. 1 kilogram is 1,000 grams. Centimeter. 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 A centimeter is a small unit of measurement that we use to measure the dimensions of everyday objects and to use when we're planning construction projects and so on. I need a 10 centimeter thick mattress. I need a 10 centimeter thick mattress. I need a 10 centimeter thick mattress.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Monthly Review, the monthly show on language learning, where you discover new learning strategies, motivational tips, study tools, and resources. By the way, all the lessons and bonuses you're about to see can be downloaded for free on our website. So click the link in the description right now to sign up for your free lifetime account. Okay, today's topic is how to get a return on your language learning investment. Language learning is an investment, but what if you're learning but not seeing any returns or results? And do you even know if you're getting any results at all? In this episode, you'll discover 1. Why language learners fail to see results and why they fail. 2. Why you need to track your language learning sessions. And 3. How to track your results. But first, here are this month's new lessons and resources. Be sure to download these now before we take them down in a few days. First, the Going to the Airport Conversation Cheat Sheet. With this new cheat sheet, you'll learn words and phrases like, here's my passport, boarding pass, and much more. Download it for free on the inside. Second, the Slang Words and Phrases PDF ebook. Do you know any slang in your target language? If not, download this free ebook and master all the must-know slang across 10 chapters. Third, 30 romance and love-related words and phrases. You'll learn words and phrases like date, flirt, and breakup with this quick vocab bonus. Fourth, can you talk about Halloween in your target language? With this quick 1-minute lesson, you'll learn must-know Halloween words like vampire, trick-or-treat, and more. To get your free resources, click the link in the description below right now. They're yours to keep forever. Okay, let's jump into today's topic. How to get a return on your language learning investment. Part 1. One of the biggest reasons why people fail. The first big reason people fail with language learning is because they set big, vague goals, like I want to be fluent. The problem with these goals is you don't know how you'll ever go from where you are now to achieving fluency. It's too vague of a goal. But the second big reason is lack of time. People fail with language learning because they don't put in the time. And language learning is a function of time. The more you put in, the better you get. You can also think of learning a language like a gym. You get out what you put in. If you buy a dumbbell and do nothing, nothing happens. It can do great things for you, but it won't work for you until you pick it up and curl it a few times. If you put in 1 hour a day, you get results. If you put in 10 minutes a day, you get results. But if you put in 0, you get 0 results. And you can't learn a language that way. So here's a question for you.
how much time do you put into your language learning on a daily basis? Leave a comment. If you start putting in consistent time, you can also start expecting a return on your time. And this brings us to the second part. Part 2, why you need to track your language learning sessions. In the first part, we talked about just putting in enough time. That's the first important step to take. But where should you put in your time? For example, you can put in 10 minutes and use an app to do translation exercises. You can put in 10 minutes and read a textbook, or review a word list for 10 minutes. In all these examples, you can put in an equal amount of time, but the results you get will be different. And that's because different methods give you different results and benefits. Using an app may help you remember a few words. Reading a textbook can boost your vocabulary, grammar, and reading skills. And reviewing a word list will just help you with the words. So the second lesson is, you need to know what kind of results you get. You need to measure the return on your time so that you can be confident that you're making progress. In the case of our audio and video lessons, 3 or 4 lessons will help you understand and speak roughly 1 minute of conversation, as well as learn all words and grammar rules inside. This is the return on our lessons. How is this possible? The dialogue tracks are about 20 seconds, and so 3 lessons, that's 3 conversations at 20 seconds apiece, which is 60 seconds or 1 minute of conversation. So if you know the 3 lessons get you to 1 minute of conversation, you can know what results to expect. If you do 20 lessons, you're at about 5 minutes of conversation. 40 lessons, that's around 10 minutes or so of conversation. That's the power of measuring the results. If you track your results, you know what to expect in the future, and you can hit your language learning goals. So how can you start measuring your return? Let's jump into the third part. Part 3, how to track your results and hit goals. If you're able to consistently put in time towards learning and maintaining your routine, then it's time to start tracking your time and effort. Why? At the basic level, language learning is simply putting in the time. You don't need a high IQ. You don't need to be talented at languages. You don't need the best possible app. You just need time. The more time you put in, the more results you get out. And aside from setting unrealistic goals, the other reason why people fail at languages is they just don't put in the time. So, how can you track your results? Let's look at 2 ways, an easy way and an advanced way of tracking your time and results. Let's start with the easy way first. Simply track the time you put in. So if you do a 10-minute audio lesson today and then spend 5 minutes with flashcards, note this as 15 minutes for the day and write down what you did. Then do the same thing tomorrow. That's it. The goal here is to track the time and your effort. You'll want to track it and actually have measurable proof of your work. And also, so you can review what you've been doing and see your progress. So if one day you realize you don't know enough words, or maybe you don't speak as much as you'd like, you can look at your notes and review your work. If you see that you've been just watching video lessons, you can spot the problem, which is you've done no actual vocab study or speaking practice. And now you can start doing it. Problem solved. You're on your way to fluency. Another way you can track your time and effort is with the dashboard on our site. So if you visit the dashboard, you can see the lessons you've completed, the number of flashcards reviewed, and hours studied. This is the second tactic, and it's an advanced one because not only do you need to track your time, you also need to track your results, which is a bit trickier. So how can you do that? With our conversational audio lessons, check the length of the dialogue track. If the dialogue track is about 20 seconds, then that's the amount of conversation you can expect to master. By the way, these tracks are anywhere from 10 to 40 seconds long. Now, if you're studying words with flashcards, take note of how many words you already know. So if you studied for 5 minutes and can easily remember 7 out of 10 words, then that's your return. If you know this, you know what to expect when you learn new words. You can expect to remember about 7 out of 10 with a 5-minute drill. Another thing you can do is boost that number to 10 out of 10. Next, if you're practicing your listening skills, try to gauge how much you understand. If you understood about 20% of a 3-minute conversational lesson, then that's your return for now. Again, by knowing this, you can now start asking questions like, what can I do to understand 50% of this conversation? Will doubling my time double my results as well? Will I understand 40%? Will reviewing this lesson for a few minutes a day, every day, work better than trying to memorize it all now? So then, you put these questions to the test and try them out. And because you know your return, you can see if it really works. So thank you for watching this episode of Monthly Review. Next time, we'll talk about how to boost your motivation and learn more by adding others to the mix. If you enjoyed these tips, hit the like button, share the video with anyone who's trying to learn a language, and subscribe to our channel. We release new videos every week. And if you're ready to finally learn language the fast, fun, and easy way and start speaking from your very first lesson, get our complete learning program. Sign up for your free lifetime account right now. Click the link in the description. See you next time. Bye! Want to perfect your pronunciation and speak like a native? The best way to do this is 1. Listen to a native speaker, 2. Repeat what they say, and 3. The most important part, compare yourself against their pronunciation. In fact, mimicking a native speaker like this, which is called shadowing, is a powerful way to master your speaking. And you can do this all with the voice recorder inside of our learning program. But first, if you don't yet have access to our program, sign up for a free lifetime account right now. Just click the link in the description. So, what makes the voice recorder so powerful? First, you can instantly spot the differences between yourself and the native speaker. How? The voice recorder records you and then compares your speaking to the native speaker. Just record and listen. Once you know what you need to change to sound perfect, you can adjust your speaking and your pitch until you match the native speaker. Second, you get to practice speaking the most common words and phrases. In other words, you won't be learning to say random words and phrases. Our lessons teach you practical, everyday conversations, like introducing yourself, ordering food at a restaurant, talking about where you're from, and more. The kind of conversations you'll have with native speakers. And our vocabulary lists teach you the must-know words and phrases for all kinds of topics. Holidays, slang, the many ways to say hello, and more. So, how do you use the voice recorder? You'll find the voice recorder in our lessons and vocabulary lists. Just look for the microphone icon. With our lessons, scroll down to the dialogue section. The dialogue section is a line-by-line breakdown of the lesson conversation. Next to each line, click on the microphone icon to open the voice recorder for that line. First, listen to the native speaker's pronunciation. Then, click on the round record icon to record yourself. And finally, play the 2 tracks to compare. Successful learners practice one line 3 to 4 times to fully master the pronunciation. Now, if you're using our free vocabulary phrase lists, you'll find the microphone icon next to each word or phrase. Again, click on the icon to record and compare yourself to the native pronunciation. So, if you want to speak like a native with perfect pronunciation, take advantage of this voice recorder, which is available in every lesson and vocabulary list. But if you don't yet have access, sign up for a free lifetime account right now. Just click the link in the description to sign up. Great work! Here's a reward. Speed up your language learning with our PDF lessons. Get all of our best PDF cheat sheets and ebooks for free. Just click the link in the description.